So, welcome to Drunk Cooking with Joe Phono. First steps first. You gotta get drunk. Oi. Now, I'm gonna make something tonight that I've never made before. This is gonna be me winging it by the wing of my pants. My pants. Wings of my pants? I don't know. So, this is going to be a crawfish, like creamy red sauce pasta that is actually gluten-free. And yeah, we're just going to get started. So pay attention. All right. Now, like always, I always have a million dishes, so I made sure the sink was empty and the dishwasher was empty so that I can just throw shit in there as I go. Because you don't want all your dishes to pile up. So, we're going to get a pot of water and some olive oil going for the fusilli pasta. Because we're going to bake this in the end. A little olive oil, as the Italians do, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Now, like I've said before a million times, there's a person on TV, Rachel Ray. She always says, you always have to season your pasta before because it's the only time you're going to have to salt it. So I put a lot of salt in there usually because it helps out with the brine that you end up mixing with your sauce. So then, I'm going to throw in some Bonte d'Italia gluten-free fusilli, which is great stuff. I love it. I made some homemade, well, not homemade goat cheese, but plain goat cheese mixed with a bunch of herbs and spices like garlic and Italian seasoning and red peppers. And I just like whipped that all together. And then we're going to start out our sauce, which we're going to blend with this Mazzetta Family Company roasted garlic. It's a really good starting point. I always love it. Got some crawfish right here. They're huge. You don't want too many because you don't want to overpower the flavor of the sauce. Then we're going to get some whole milk and a bunch of cheeses. Throw them all in the blender. Blend the Christ out of them. And then I'll keep you up to date. Whoosh. Now for another shot. Because what is drunk cooking without being drunk, right? Now, once your olive oil, water, and salt mixture is coming to a rolling boil, which it will in about 2 seconds, you're going to want to throw in the fusilli. Now, keep in mind this is gluten-free, so the timing might be a little different than yours. If you're using a normal fusilli, I almost dropped my phone. Stir it up a little bit so the olive oil can coat all the nudes. And then we're going to start making the sauce. Now at this point, you want to shut the heat down from high down to about like a 6. Otherwise you're going to get a boil over when you're not paying attention. Oh yeah. Then we're going to get a green pepper, red pepper. Even though I'm still using the Holy Trinity like seasoning mix, the frozen one that's in my freezer over there with Mickey Mouse. Hey Mickey Mouse, how you doing? Yep, alright. I still like to have a little fresh in there because, you know, frozen sometimes doesn't taste the same. We're going to chop these in quarters. Take the seeds out, obviously. Some Greek yogurt. Some of this awesome goat cheese mixture I made. A little bit of this roasted garlic from Mazzetta. And some milk, and we're going to make a sauce that we're going to cook over there. But for that, I'm going to saute these vegetables in some olive oil with the Holy Trinity. So it has all the goodness and flavors and some garlic. And don't forget the garlic, like I always say. Oh yeah, hold on. We got to do this obligatory shot time out. All right. Next, you're going to get some wine. I prefer a Chardonnay, and I chose this one because it's beautiful and it's Grace, and my girl's name's Gracie. So I was like, hey, that'll do. So you pour some of this in there, and it's delicious. It's actually a really reasonable price too, and it's probably one of the better Chardonnays I've had in a long time. So take note. Now, this is essentially the Holy Trinity that in Louisiana and everywhere else, but it's onions, peppers, celery, and I mean 2 different kinds of peppers, but it's like the best thing in the world for anything that you're going to cook. So now I've got the green peppers in there starting to steam up with the white wine. I'm going to dump these in there, and then I'm going to add that red pepper for a little extra. All right, now that the fusilli is doing just quite well, I think it might be done. You just want it al dente because it's going to cook again in the oven. Put the red peppers, the green peppers, the Holy Trinity in there. Bam! They're going to start cooking. I'm going to add some butter and some olive oil. I'm telling you, always when you can find it, get Kerrygold pure Irish butter. Not the unsalted kind. You want this kind. It is the best butter to cook with. All right, now inside of this, whatever it is, we're going to do blender. We're going to do a little more white wine, and then a little one for me. Delicious. We're going to do a Chobani Greek yogurt, not flat, non-fat, plain. Hold, please. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I don't know if I can't. Come on now. Come on now. I'm struggling here. All right. Put that yogurt in there. Yeah. Make it nice and creamy. Yeah. Nice and creamy. All right. Well, that's creamy enough. The vegetables are cooking real nice. Fusilli's done. Now, again, one-handed somehow. I'm going to do this. Pull this off. Mazzetta. We need a little bit of it. Not a lot. Just a little bit. Like that much. Dude, they make the best sauces, I swear. Then we're going to do a little bit of this Better Than Bouillon lobster base. Just a teaspoon should do it to make the medicine go down. Okay, we put that in there. And then we get the cheese. And we put goat cheese in there. And we're going to blend all this together to a lovely, healthy mess. Now, you don't want to use all the goat cheese because you want a little garnish at the end. So I left about that much. Yeah. So, then, after that, we're going to do a tiny bit of balsamic vinegar. Just a dash. And some garlic. I'm using powdered today because I'm lazy. And I don't want to use the other kind. There we go. Perfecto. Now, also with the white wine, I'm doing a red wine, just a splash, 19 Crimes. These are really cool bottles because they actually like animate when you do stuff with them. So a tiny bit of that too. Now, I'm going to put the lid on for a second because I don't want, you know, it's Louisiana this time of year. There's flies everywhere. So, not in my house though. No, not mine. Anyway, coming back in a minute. Woo! Also putting an assortment of cherry tomatoes that are going to be delicious in the sauce into the blender. Yeah. And now that all these are broken down pretty well, we got some good water coming off of them. I'm going to put them in the blender with the rest of the sauce. Add a little milk to your blender. Oh, Lord. I just messed that up, didn't I? Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. I also had some Parmesan and Asiago in there. And now we're going to blend it. Now, this you're going to want to blend all the way down to a smooth texture. But once I put the crawfish in, that's different. Alrighty, let's get going. Beautiful smooth texture. It smells so fresh and delicious. It's going to be amazing. So I'm going to pour this in the pan. Now, I'll do all of it. Why not? Oh yeah, it's like a fresh garden. So good. Make sure to wash your dishes after every use, because if you don't, you're going to hate yourself in the morning. Crawfish I have is frozen, obviously. Makes it easier to cut, because you want to chop it up pretty good. Not like super fine, otherwise I would have just put it in with the sauce in the blender. But it's funny, because it's from Bieber Farms. Justin Bieber makes crawfish. Best part about frozen crawfish, it comes in these packages. And when it's frozen, you know, it's all bunched in there, just smashed together in a sealed bag. But if you quarter it up like this while it's still frozen, which is super easy, then it breaks into tiny little pieces. So etouffees or, you know, anything you want to do with it, it just breaks up into tiny little pieces because you've already cut it in 17 different directions. It's perfect. Crawfish in the soups. Gotta mix that in. And now I wait as it breaks down. It's time for another drink. Yes. So I decided to throw some more of the Holy Trinity in there, so there's some chunks of vegetables, not just a puree. So I'm going to do that, just the rest of the bag, because it's not a lot. And we're going to just let this sit and stew for a while. Oh, always clean your cutting board. Always. Because if you don't, you'll hate yourself in the morning. What would a cooking video be without my homemade Cajun spices? I'm gonna get that in there, yeah. What's Cajun without crawfish and spice? Well, I think drinks are working. Yep. Let's start on this one right here. Cheers, friends. The sauce is smelling and looking delicious, and all the crawfish are starting to shrink a little bit, so they're just pulling out from each other. It's perfect. And sorry, got a little foggy there. And I'm gonna let this reduce down, because crawfish aren't really there for like the protein necessarily, they're there for the flavor. And then we're gonna mix the fusilli. Once this is broken down a little more, I'm not gonna use all of this obviously. And then we're going to put a bunch of cheeses and stuff with it and bake it in the oven in that thing. Yeah! I waited about 15 minutes and the sauce was broken down nicely. And I know there's going to be a lot of my chef friends who are going to be like, oh my god, the crawfish is broken down too far, it's going to be rubbery. No, it's not. It's going to actually break down further, get softer as I break down the sauce, because there's so much goodness in the sauce. It'll keep the crawfish kind of moist. They might be small, but like I said, the sauce is the point I was going for, not the crawfish. So, it's perfect. Greased up the 9x9. Getting ready for this stuff to break down a little bit more. It's a little spicier than I would have intentioned. Sorry, Gracie. But I think with the cheese and the pasta, everything will soak together and everything will be just fine. All that being said, I always do a cheese crisper on the bottom of all of my pasta dishes. So I'm getting this Sargento sharp cheddar. I'm putting these on the bottom instead of the traditional shredded, always from Sargento as well. I'm going to put this oven, I just censored myself for the sake of my family, on broil. We're going to make a cheese crisper on the bottom of that. It's going to be delicious. So here's the cheese crisper. It just barely came out of the oven. It is still bubbling. Because you put it on broil with the 4 pieces of cheese and bam, sharp cheddar crisper. And now I'm going to let this cool off because once it does, it's going to be nice and flaky on the bottom. Delicious. A little more of this. And our lovely sauce with crawfish and cheese and fresh vegetables and tomatoes. It's all stewing up in this pot. It's reduced down from about here. I need it to reduce a little bit more. Not too much, because, I mean, if it doesn't, I'll just strain off the protein and most of the sauce. But the sauce I can save for another day, because this is really good sauce. I just tried it. And I'm not to toot my own horn, but toot, toot, toot. Especially for a sauce I've never made before. So, we're going to do this in a minute. That's settling. Then it's pasta, sauce, more cheese, sharp cheddar, and then more sauce, more proteins, probably a little more of the pasta, and then cheese on top. So, I don't really know which cheese I'm going to use on top. Like I said, I'm making this up as I go. But I do have some Tillamook, Cracker Barrel sharp yellow cheddar that maybe I'll use for the top crisper. And always top with Parmesan and a little bit of black pepper, because those two things go together like peanut butter and pancakes. No, peanut butter and jelly. I farted. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here he comes. The man, the myth, the legend. My supervisor in my cooking. I hear the clickety-clop. I know you're there. Come here, Petey. 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 Here he comes. Well, my name's Petey, and I usually supervise Dad's cooking because he likes to burn himself and stuff, so I'm here to make sure that everything is going well and everything looks like it's in its place at the right time. So I'm going to clean up all these little scraps of cheese and milk that Dad spilt earlier, and I'm going to make sure that the perimeter is secure, and I think it is. So, my name's Petey, and I am Dad's cooking partner. However, I'm gonna go do something else. So, Dad, how long does that cheese thing have to sit? Because I kind of, my tail hits on. I kind of want a piece of it, but I'm just going to do the perimeter again and just lay down right here and make sure you don't burn the house down, okay? All right. Yep, I'm Petey. My name's Petey, and I'm Dad's supervisor. Without really even trying, this turned into like a crawfish bisque noodle baked casserole. It should be delicious because this is just about ready. It's nice and greasy. That's how I like it. Put a nice layer of fusilli in her. Yep, I like fusilli. I just ate some off the floor. And then we're going to get the sauce here in a minute. And we're going to put it over the top of that. And then put a layer of cheese. Another layer of pasta. Another layer of sauce. And then more cheese on top. And then bake it. And I am just gonna make sure you don't burn the house down. Oh look, it was hell. Now I don't sell. So if anybody needs to sell stock, we should probably do it now. We got this reduced down probably an inch, maybe an inch and a half. So it's about time to start applying it to pasta over there. And then making the layers and throwing it in the oven at a nice cool 375 degrees. I sifted out a lot of the proteins and just put them on top of the noodles. And I'm going to put the sauce on that and then another layer of everything. It's going to be great. I got the proteins in there, and now this is not for the faint of heart, people. Putting in some more sharp cheddar on top, and then another layer of pasta, another layer of goodness. Oh yeah, pasta in. Wait, hold up. Alright, proteins in. Now I'm going to drizzle it with the rest of this goo. Put some cheese on top and bake this thing for like an hour and a half. Now to make this even more Louisiana after I put cheese on top, I'm doing Chewy green onion cheese crunchers as a topper. By hand. Oh yeah. Yeah, get in there. You can only get these here in New Orleans. Oh yeah, get on there. Yeah, you're gonna bake them just right. A little onion, a little goodness, a little deliciousness. This is not for the faint of heart, people. This is not a I'm working out all the time dish. This is a fat kid dish, so just so you know. And I will give you, hey, where's my Chewy? I don't know. There it is. There's my Chewy. This is the end. It just came out. Still bubbling on the sides. Cheesy. Delicious Cajun crawfish etouffee pasta, essentially. That's just gonna be delicious. So that concludes Drunk Cooking with Joe Phono for this time, and I'll see you guys next time.